something is happening in Kansas City, and it's not good for Chiefs fans. After a Super Bowl to forget, one of the team's most important players could be on the verge of saying goodbye, leaving a big question mark over the future of this dynasty. In addition, a key figure behind the scenes of the Chiefs' success shows the extent of his influence on the NFL, proving that his impact goes far beyond the team. And to top it all off, a controversy that took over the season gained a new chapter after the Super Bowl loss. One of the players didn't keep quiet. There's a lot going on, and you can't miss a single detail. So leave a like, and let's go to the video. Could the Kansas City Chiefs dynasty be crumbling? After getting smacked 44, 22 by the Philadelphia Eagles in Super Bowl LIX, the reigning champs are suddenly staring down a future that might not include Travis Kelce. And let's be real, Chiefs Kingdom without Kelce just wouldn't feel the same. Before the game, rumors were already swirling that Kelce was considering calling it quits. At 35, Father Time seems to be knocking. His 2024 numbers were the lowest of his career. 883 yards, 3 TDs. And against Philly, he was a non-factor, managing just 4 catches for 39 yards. Not exactly the Kelce magic we're used to seeing in big moments. So what does Patrick Mahomes think? After the loss, he weighed in on his favorite target's potential retirement, and while he didn't try to sway Kelce one way or another, he made it clear the big guy still has plenty left in the tank. I'll let Travis make that decision. On his own, Mahomes told The Athletic's Mike Jones. Man, he's given so much to this team, to the NFL, and been such a joy, not only for me to work with, but for people to watch. And so he knows he still has a lot of football left in him. You can see it. He always makes plays in the biggest moments, but it's if he wants to put in that grind. That's the real question. Does Kelce want to keep putting his body through a grueling 20-game season just to get back to this stage? Mahomes didn't sugarcoat it. He acknowledged the toll it takes, but also reminded everyone that Kelce's legacy is already set in stone. First ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt. Gold jacket, just a matter of time. Kelce came back in 2024 chasing an almost mythical three-peat, but even legends have their limits. If this really is the end, he walks away with 3 Super Bowl rings, 7 All-Pro selections, and 10 Pro Bowl nods. Oh, and let's not forget he's got a wildly popular podcast, business ventures, and a life outside of football waiting for him. So is this it? Chiefs fans will be holding their breath this offseason, waiting for an answer. But if Kelce does, hang him up. One thing's for sure, the game won't be the same without him. Now, if there's anyone who knows how to build a winning team, it's Andy Reid. His legacy is immense, and his influence extends far beyond the Chiefs. But will that be enough to keep Kansas City on top? When you talk about legendary NFL coaches, Andy Reid's name has to be right at the top of the list. The man has been around the league forever, and there's a reason for that. He's simply one of the best to ever do it. From his offensive genius to his ability to evolve with the game, Reid has been a mastermind no matter where he's coached. And let's be honest, the Kansas City Chiefs dynasty? It doesn't happen without Big Red at the helm. Sure, Reid has had his share of setbacks over the years, but ever since landing in Kansas City, he's turned the franchise into an absolute powerhouse. Before he got there, the Chiefs were stuck in mediocrity. Now, they've been the team to beat for years, and Reid has cemented his legacy with multiple Super Bowl wins. But his impact goes beyond just the teams he's coached. Reid's coaching tree is one of the strongest in NFL history. A ton of coaches who learned under him have gone on to find success elsewhere, proving just how influential he's been in shaping the league. One of the biggest names from that coaching tree, Ravens head coach John Harbaugh. Back in the day, Harbaugh worked under Reid in Philly as a special teams coordinator and defensive backs coach. Since taking over in Baltimore, he's become one of the league's top coaches, even winning a Super Bowl with the Ravens. Then there's Ron Rivera, who also got his start under Reid in Philadelphia as a linebackers coach. Rivera later became a head coach for the Panthers, leading them to a Super Bowl in 2015, and then took over the Washington Commanders. Sean McDermott, another Reid disciple. He held multiple roles with the Eagles before finally getting his shot as a head coach with the Buffalo Bills in 2017. Since then, he's transformed the Bills into a perennial contender. And of course, we can't forget about Steve Spagnuolo, the Chiefs' defensive coordinator. Spags first worked with Reid in Philly from 1999 to 2006 before getting a shot as the Rams head coach. That didn't quite pan out, but he found his way back to Reid's staff and has since built one of the nastiest defenses in the league. At this point, Reid's influence on the game is undeniable, whether it's his own success or the success of the coaches who learned under him. His fingerprints are all over the modern NFL. And as long as he's leading the Chiefs, there'll always be a threat to add more trophies to the case. But not everything was decided on the field. After the Super Bowl defeat, one of the Chiefs players spoke out about a controversy that has plagued the team throughout the season. Is he right, or was it just a rant from someone who lost heading into Super Bowl LIX? The big talking point was how the Chiefs supposedly had the refs in their pocket all season. But after getting smacked by the Eagles, Kansas City wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins had some words for that narrative, and he wasn't holding back. Right after the 40-22 loss, Hopkins made it clear he wasn't happy with the way the game was officiated. He called out the media for pushing the idea that the Chiefs were getting special treatment all year and asked if they now acknowledge the questionable calls that went against Kansas City. It's my first year being with the Chiefs, and I saw a lot of things in the media about the refs, but what are you all going to say now about the refs and us? Hopkins said via Fox Sports. There was a lot of touchy calls. Are you going to report that? Are you going to talk about the refs now? And hey, he's got a point. There were definitely some debatable calls in the first quarter, but let's be real, it wouldn't have mattered. The Eagles weren't losing this game, no matter what. Their defense came out with bad intentions, playing like a team that still hadn't gotten over losing to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Patrick Mahomes, he never got in rhythm. Kansas City's offense was completely out of sync from the jump, and by the time they found any life, the game was already out of reach. Mahomes threw some uncharacteristic picks, got sacked more than usual, and just wasn't his usual magic-making self. As for Hopkins, this wasn't the Super Bowl debut he imagined. 2 catches for 18 yards and a garbage time touchdown? Not exactly the impact he wanted. Sure, it'll always be on the stat sheet, but it won't take away the sting of watching Philly celebrate while he and his teammates walked off in defeat. The Chiefs only lost 2 games all year, but this one is going to haunt them. Now it's back to work for Mahomes, Hopkins, and the rest of Kansas City as they try to regroup and make another run next season. The Chiefs' future is shrouded in uncertainty. If one of their most important pieces really does leave, this dynasty could crumble faster than many imagine. Andy Reid still has the power to keep this team competitive, but we've seen great empires fall in the NFL. And regarding the refereeing controversy, in the end, the Chiefs were simply dominated, and this loss will hurt for a long time. Now, we can only wait and see how this team will react next season. So subscribe to the channel now so you don't miss any news.